Hello and welcome to part 3 of Meet the Horses. And actually, this video is about a mule.
Okay, here he is. Today's video is all about Reuben. Reuben's been sitting in a stall for a couple hours. Well, for like 4 hours because I had to teach and brought him in. He was standing by the gate, so I figured I'd bring him in then. Reuben is a pony mule. He's about 11 and a half hands, 500 pounds, and the cutest little thing ever. Him and Sally are really good friends, and he's very good friends with Bear and Lucky, and they're also like the same size as him, so it's just super adorable. Honestly, a mule is a horse mixed with a donkey, okay? So he is pony size. I have no idea what his parents look like. I don't know how old he is really. I don't know much about him. So let me tell you Reuben's story. Like the 1st of October, 2022, and a friend of mine, she knew I had kind of been casually looking for another lesson horse or two, and they had found a pony for their granddaughter. They bought it from a kill pen in Lower Michigan. And at this kill pen, there were a whole bunch. There was like 20 horses and then this pony mule. Basically, horses from all over the place are brought into this kill pen, and then they are either, look, isn't he just the cutest little thing? Reuben, you're adorable. Look at those ears. And he's so raggy looking right now. I didn't brush him. I just drug him in from the pasture. His mane's not trimmed, because of mules, that's the thing. You trim their manes to make them look handsome. But anyway, so with this kill pen, so there's all these horses that came in from all over. There were yearlings, that were branded, or they're probably weanlings actually that were branded. There were all these, you just never know what you're going to get when you're buying horses from that kind of a situation. So it was like a private type situation, and then there was a gal that would go in there, and she would go over all the different equines and see which ones were able to be sold, like ones that she thought could, had a chance finding homes. And they would go in there and take a quick little video of them. Some Amish kids would hop on them and ride them around and just see what they know. But you didn't get to see any video or anything of that stuff. But they just would tell you, this is what they seem to know. This is how old we think they are. There was no vet, no nothing. You couldn't go see them. So with this little guy, they thought he was about 12 and can ride and drive. And that was all I knew. But when I saw him, so I'm looking at all these horses over the course of a week, and it says right on there the date that they shipped to slaughter, okay? So this is their last stop before heading to slaughter. So Reuben was supposed to ship at 9 p.m. on a Friday night. And I watched and watched and watched, and there were some other horses that, like, I was looking at the weanlings. I didn't particularly want young, weanlings at the time, but I felt so bad that they were in that situation. So anyway, and I'm sure there's a lot of horses that go to those things. It's too bad that we don't know a story on them. Like if somebody just said, yep, I'm shipping them off because they have EPM or there's something wrong with them or whatever, it would just be nice to know those things, so at least they had a little bit more of a chance. But unfortunately, people just don't care, and people are terrible. The other horses, I watched them, but I just really didn't want to get involved with getting horses from a kill pen. The reason why is because you know nothing about the background. You don't know why they're there. You could be getting something that, has major issues mentally, physically, training-wise, genetically, whatever, There's all kinds of things that could be wrong. But with this little guy, I watched him all week, and it made me happy because as I'm watching this site, the horses were getting adopted, and I was so happy to see that. There was just this little guy left, and then there was a 20-some-year-old Amish like buggy horse. So how it worked is basically my friend had bought a pony, and so she kind of filled me in on the whole scoop. And since she was already buying a pony and bringing it home, she could give any horse that I decided to buy a ride as well, and offered to quarantine them for a whole month, which is important. I do have boarders. I do have a lot of horses on my property, so I have a lot of horses to keep safe. There's a lot of diseases and different stuff that goes around at those pens, and I was not comfortable bringing an animal here. So with that being said, 8:30 on Friday night, half an hour before Reuben got sent off to slaughter, I PayPal'd the lady $600 for this pony because I felt so bad for him and I just really needed to save him. I've never done anything like that before in my life. Now I help a lot of horses. I take a lot of horses from people who just maybe can't care for them, or whatever the situation has been. I don't go looking for horses. They just kind of find me. In this situation, a mule. I'm like, if I get this little guy home and he just so much as like needs to be put down, at least he's going to be put down with decency instead of, having to be shipped all the way to Canada or wherever he was heading for slaughter, because that's not right. I waited a month, got a few pictures and stuff. And then when quarantine was over, that full month quarantine, because that's what my vet recommended, I went and picked him up, and he was a little shy, but not hard to catch. And he walked right in the trailer. He was so perfect. He stood there perfect. I got home. I unloaded him. Of course, there's like a dozen kids standing outside of the trailer because they can't wait to see him. We unloaded him. We took him in the arena. I mean, within like a half an hour of him being home, I had one of the girls riding him, and oh my gosh, he's just so cute. I just love to look at him. He's just adorable, and he's sweet, and he makes me feel good. He brings me joy because I know that he was on his way to have a really, really, really bad ending. And he came along at a time where I needed to be able to feel good about something. And so I just kind of look at it for what it is. And so now we tried. Here's one of the situations that I got to talk about because everybody likes to complain about what kind of bit a person is using. Okay. Now I'll hold on a little bit. See how he's got a little bit of runny eyes? He's kind of always had a little bit of that. This one here, he injured. He injured it just a few weeks ago, and I actually thought he poked his eye out, but he just cut his eyelid, and it's healing up. It healed up really, really nice. Reuben, why don't you go move around a little bit so people can see you? But see, he's just so friendly. He likes to visit. So the first video I saw was of him with one of those nylon web halters on, and which are fine for horses, mules, equines, whatever. When I say horse, you know I'm talking about everything, all equines. I'm not trying to leave any of them out. I know mules and horses are different, but it's just a word that I've been saying my entire life, so it's hard to switch. So anyway, with Reuben, seeing him with that nylon halter, oh my gosh, he just turned and like drugged the guy so he could go back to his friend. So, and that's what happens. They get very, you can do it. They are not stubborn. They just know what they want and they know how to get it, okay? So when people say that mules are stubborn, that means a person has been outsmarted by a mule. So don't let people fool you when they talk about mules being stubborn. They're not stubborn. They've got great self-preservation and they're smarter than humans. So they know how to get what they want. So to see him like drag that guy around at the auction, that's the only little video I got of him, and I was like, oh boy. But so fast forward then, we go to ride him, put a snaffle bit on him. There is nothing there. No power steering, so to speak, okay? And now, like I said, they know how to figure things out. Yes, it would be absolutely awesome to ride him in a snaffle, and that's my goal. That's what I would prefer. But the fact is he's been ridden, I don't know how many years, ridden, driven, whatever, for how long, and probably got in his way, or just, you know, they pulled him around or whatever. I have no idea. But I can tell you that there's not much softness there. So, unfortunately, yes, my first thought is we need to go to a shank bit, because there is no way. I mean, you take a hold of your rein with a snaffle bit and he just runs the other way. So there are situations where it's very hard to train that out of them. And now think about it. He's only 11 and a half hands, 500 pounds. He is too small for me to be training, okay? Too small for me to be riding. So the best thing I can do is get my most advanced small riders to work with him. And that's what we do. But I can't tell you that this guy's ever going to be in a snaffle bit, and that's okay. It's okay because we make sure that we use it in a manner that is as gentle as possible. But by golly, the last thing I want is this little guy turning around on the back 40 and taking off for home on a kid, and them not having any ability to stop him. So he's been through a lot of training and stuff, but this is the kind of stuff that is super hard to get an equine to stop doing, is when they learn those bad habits, when they learn to not be soft, when they learn what they can get away with, it's very hard to break those habits, okay? You seem to really like to come back over here and go over your little cavaletti. Reuben then, after finding out that he does know a little bit, so he likes to mosey. He's not one that likes to go cantering for a long time or anything like that. He loves trail riding. I have not tried hitching him to anything yet. We have ground driven him, and he did fantastic. He gets along great with the herd. And I love listening to his little hee-haw. Oh my gosh, he's got the cutest voice, but it is kind of ghoulish sounding. So like sometimes it'll catch you off guard, and yeah, it's adorable. Definitely different than Sally's. And then I had a donkey here for a while named Carlos, and Carlos had a completely different sound. So it was fun. My neighbors probably wonder what the heck I've got going on over here with all the different sounds that these guys make. So, shortly after Reuben came home, I want to say within a month, my dear Sally, my big mule, I've got her leased out to a wonderful gal. And that was the same time that Reuben came along. And the gal that's leasing Sally just happens to have a little sister who loves mules too. And so we worked it out where we've got two sisters leasing the two mules. So that works out fabulous. So he is used for some lessons as well. Not a lot, just because he is one that's not easy for people to learn on, just because he does have, like I said, he understands that he can get away with things. If we put real beginners on him, they could get a little bit frustrated because he's just a little harder to ride, because he's like, no, I want to go this way. And he will go that way. If you give him the opportunity. Why are you wrinkling your little nose? Do you got to sneeze? He's just the cutest. Oh my gosh. I mean, isn't he adorable? And he's so sweet. His video that got 1.5 million views, I have to say that video has brought in about $315 from getting that many views. And that was enough to pay for his dental exam and his vaccines when he got here. It took a year for that video to make that much, but that's why I'm doing this. You know, in the long run, being able to do a video like that, knowing that, you know, it could eventually make enough to at least contribute to whatever it was that I was doing that day. Okay, so that was a dental visit. Great, it paid for it. It just helps. So you just watching this video is helping me. It's helping Reuben. It's helping the other horses and mule that I've got here. And that's, I think, pretty cool. So, and you don't have to, you're not having to pay anything to do that. All you're doing is just watching a video. All right, so moving forward with Reuben, we don't know how old he is. Guessing early 20s. They said 12. That's not true. And so what I'm going to do is just let Reuben kind of tell me what he's comfortable doing. If Reuben is comfortable doing some, easy lessons, great. If Reuben wants to trail ride, we'll trail ride. If Reuben is happy driving, he'll be driving. Whatever Reuben shows me that he is happy doing or comfortable doing, that's what we'll stick with. He's been very easy to care for. So he's only had a couple of visits from the vet, nothing major. Just a little eye issue. Had his teeth done, some vaccines, got his hip adjusted. He's had a massage. I do have videos of that too, of the before and after. It was pretty awesome. So out of all the horses and ponies and mules that I do have, I have to say, like, seeing this guy out on the trails this summer probably made me smile the most. He got to go on a 10-mile fundraiser trail ride in the fall. So we'd go on this, it's called Sally's Ride, and it's the same organization that Nash came from. Okay, so, and actually Nellie too. So we go on that every year, and we raise a bunch of money to go and support this local organization that rescues these horses. But anyway, it was awesome to see Reuben out on the trail, and I think everybody really enjoyed seeing him there. And it's just different. We don't have many mules in our area, so that's fun. And then he also got to go to a horse show, and he did, we have a drill team, so he got to participate in the drill team and also in some speed events. So it was really cute to see him at an event, because I'm sure he's probably never done anything like that before. It was just awesome. Something else I want to point out too is, because a lot of people ask about halters. I like rope halters because of just you have a little extra if you need it. And you can see on his, it's got extra knots on the noseband. See how it's got 2 on each side there? So the reason he has extra knots, because for the majority, I only have just where it's just the knot on each side. But with him, just like with him wanting to pull with the bit, he also will pull on a halter. So going with the extra knots just makes it so it's there if we need it, but it doesn't affect him at all if, pressure's not applied. So it just makes it so when he goes to turn his head and pull, he runs into a little bit more pressure. It stops him from dragging us around. So you'll see that on both my mules, how they have extra knots on the noseband. And, if I had a mule that I raised from the start, that may not ever be the case, but the 2 mules that I do have definitely learned to pull people around a little bit. So that's something that we're always working on, and it's something that needs to be prevented with every other animal that I can help prevent it with. So, all right, well, that's it about Reuben. If I forgot anything, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.